this looks sensational.
I tried it. It was amazing.
In this room right here, these 5 of us, like 4 of us at least, are not going to buy the game on PlayStation if we can get it on PC at the same time.
It blew so crazy out of control to the point where it really did feel like people were affected.
But do you guys, you don't think that this allows them, the devs, to have different power profiles based on whether or not you're docked? Welcome back to the NerdNest podcast. We have a very extra full panel today with special guest Wood Hawker. How's it going, Wood?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. He has the YouTube channel Beat 'em Ups. If you've never seen his stuff before, mostly focuses on Nintendo stuff, but make sure that you check his stuff out. And then we've got Rich. What's going on, Rich?
Everything is good, man. Happy it's Friday. Happy to be recording with you all. Yep.
Yeah, Friday. I'm very happy about that. As soon as we get out of here, my grandkids are coming over and we're going to hang out, maybe do a fire.
Awesome.
Carrie, what have you been up to, dude?
Friday means less for me this particular time because I start my on-call shift right now. So it's like on, but nothing really happens, really, especially because there's a late shift group that are there until 7. But after 7, I kick in. But I did that because I switched because I'm going to Gamescom next week.
A very, very long trip.
Yeah. It's going to be, I'm going to Gamescom for 10 days. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
10 days?
Germany for 10 days. Yeah. My wife's tagging along. We're going to pal around there and then go to Gamescom.
I'm very
good.
jealous.
Yeah, me
Russ,
too.
how you been, man?
Good. Yeah, I'm also happy it's Friday. Like, I'm just thinking about, I released a video today. I don't really do Friday releases, but man, it feels good to release a video on Friday because you're just like, have a good weekend, everyone. I just love that. I know Bob does that sometimes in his videos. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you ever see, there's that one Twitter feed and it's just Craig. Who's the James Bond guy? Craig.
Oh my, I know.
Yeah.
This is the weekend.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the weekend. And that's all it is. It doesn't actually get to, it's just, I always love seeing that tweet.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have a pile of stories to talk about today. I'm looking at the show notes. It's impossible for us to actually get through all of these, but we'll get through as much as we can. And I want to start with Sony, senior vice president, gonna wreck his name, Sadahiko Hayakawa. He says that basically Sony has been shifting their business away from focusing so much on hardware, which I think we've all seen happen over the last couple of years as they keep porting things to PC. Xbox porting things to PC. I think the console wars are officially over at this point because Nintendo and Sony seem to be the only ones left in that game, and they don't really compete with each other because people are going to either get a Nintendo system, whether they're going to get one or not, whether they have a PlayStation or not. And there's not a lot of overlap there. And if there is overlap, it's usually people that buy both. But they're moving away from hardware. They've now officially said it. And I'm just curious what you guys think about that. As is it a good move for them? Or do you think this is going to come back to bite them where they're currently kind of riding high? What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I'm trying to kind of make out what he really means, right? Like, I don't know. There's the rumor PlayStation handheld, PS6. So like, I do think that more so than Xbox, they continue to be in the hardware game. Some of the rest of the quote is that they're going to focus more on creation, right? So like meaning creating games. And that to me makes a lot of sense, right? Like it feels like there's been a dearth in terms of like Sony output in the last few years, right? We were getting very used to the pace at which they were making games where it was like Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 2 was, just maybe a year after Miles Morales, which was only a year after Spider-Man. And so like
Insomniac just like
Atlas shrugged over here.
Yeah.
So like they were at a good clip, and then they kind of pivoted to the live service strategy that they were going for, and because a lot of that fell through, they just have not had the same output. So I think if I'm thinking about it that way and just them kind of refocusing on making good games, the rest will follow, right? Like regardless of whether or not they are console exclusive or rather have more exclusives or pivot to PC, pivot to putting games out on Xbox, first and foremost, make good games. That is the thing you have to do. And I like that way of thinking about it.
Yeah, the rest of the quote says, in the gaming business, we're moving away from the hardware-centric business model more to a platform business that expands the community and increases engagement. So I think basically they're doing the same thing that Microsoft is doing, leaving Nintendo to be the only one that is really focused on hardware and exclusives, because Microsoft, they've shifted to a platform model where their platform is Game Pass. Now, PlayStation is doing that, and they have like their launcher on PC, their platform, so that they can track trophies and stuff. It's less about the box and more about the way that it communicates with all the other PlayStation properties. Does that make sense, Carrie?
Yeah, so I think that they have recognized, especially with the new data that they got, where like you look at the past few months of sales, all of Xbox studios are in like the top 10 list, 1 through 7. 5 of those spots are Microsoft. So that is a huge signal to Sony that not only have these people wanted to play those Xbox games, they did not get them on Xbox or PC and just chose to not have it at all. And then when they finally showed up on PlayStation, they bought in droves. So I think they got a lot of data from that side. They said, you know what? All this like worry of us cannibalizing our own output, like no one's going to buy on PlayStation anymore. No one's going to buy a PlayStation anymore. We're going to lose PSN because they're just going to go to PC. They're going to go to somewhere else. It's not going to happen. And I was laughing at this myself because I was going to bring up the PS3 was just absolute garbage, and 100 million people bought that thing.
This guy.
What he brings this up probably once every 6 months about how much he hates the PS3.
What's
just
wrong
so
with
you know the context.
What's wrong with the PlayStation 3?
Everything.
You've just gotten him started.
No. So here's the deal: is that the 360 was superior in every given way, and yet the PS3, in its lifetime sales, actually beat it by a tiny amount. It had nothing until 2008. It doesn't matter. It was overpriced, had nothing, was worse performing than the 360, especially for multi-platform titles. It was effectively like the PS4 was to the Xbox One. The PS4 was less expensive and better, and came out a week earlier. And 360 was better, less expensive, and came out a year earlier. Doesn't matter.
I can see all of that. I think they're both great, though.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the reality is that when Microsoft makes a PS3, they sell half the amount of units. And when Sony makes a PS3, they sell 100 million of them. So that's really what, like, basically there are people that regardless of whatever it is, they're just going to buy PlayStation. And that's just, you know, they just prefer it. They prefer playing on PlayStation, and they prefer like I've had so many conversations where people just want to play on a console. They don't want to be bothered with a PC because they have all of this headcanon of all of these things that they have to do. Shader stutter that happens with like UE5 games, all of these things that come with, there's less edges on just getting a console version. So there's people that just genuinely like it and they prefer PlayStation. And that's what I think ultimately this has come down to and has rung true for them, is that they don't have to worry about losing their core audience or losing PSN sales or losing anything else, because they're going to still be there. And that's where they prefer to play. So that's all it comes down to. Like, I think that we're going to get closer to the day and date PC release of like PlayStation and whatever. And I think that's going to be to be better for them. Like, they're going to show better sales on PC side and I don't think they're going to have a big downside on PlayStation sales.
Well, the Hiroki Totoki, is that his name? The head guy over at PlayStation? Am I remembering his name right? Is this thing on?
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hiroki Totoki sounds familiar.
Okay,
It's a very fun name.
It is. It's fun to say.
Hiroki Totoki. It is.
Oh, you nailed it.
Yes, CEO of Sony. Yeah.
Well, how
So-
how can you remember that name? It's so rich all the time.
Yeah, it's a good
Rich's
name.
name is not nearly as fun to say.
I
It's a
guess
good. It's a good thing his name isn't Rich Totoki. Yes.
Russ. Yeah, Ruttatoki.
Rustatoki, I'm pretty sure. But he said one of the things that he said was that we're still being very strategic about what games we're going to be bringing to PC. Russ, do you think that Carrie's right that we're going to start seeing more day and date PC releases, or are they just going to keep that with games as a service games?
You know, that's like the number one thing I thought of when I read this quote. I was like, okay, we're going to see more PC games, which is good. And I think they've seen the success of PC sales. And I kind of disagree with Kerry where he says it's not going to really cannibalize console sales, because in this room right here, these 5 of us, like 4 of us at least, are not going to buy the game on PlayStation if we can get it on PC at the same time. You know what I mean? So that is going to cannibalize the sale.
I was never a PS guy. So I would only ever buy like super exclusives that I knew I wanted to play. But now, I mean, like even for Astrobot, I like that. The FOMO hit me for Astrobot, and I bought Astrobot. But because I bought it for Astrobot means I'm probably not going to get it for PC unless it goes to extreme discount, just like God of War 1 or God of War 2018. But yeah, I mean, for us, for sure it is. I feel like there is, but I'm not sure that the PSN subscribers would go to PC.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally see that. I think it actually just opens up the kind of platform, like they're talking being more platform based, right? It's like the idea of, okay, Sony as a platform is PC and PS4 or PS5 sales. And, you know, the console guys can still get their gaming experience, but the PC guys don't have to wait for that anymore. And I think that's a really excellent choice. And that's where I would be, is like, hey, if I can get it on PC, which means I can play it on my Steam Deck, I can play it on everything else and have those cloud saves, I'm going to do that as opposed to forcing myself to sit on my couch in order to play this game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wood, with Xbox shifting from hardware to Game Pass, and now PlayStation coming right out and saying we're shifting from hardware to platform, Nintendo seems to be the only holdout at this point. I personally don't see any world in which Nintendo ever ships their games to anything other than Switch and maybe phone.
They want too much control.
They want too much control. But what do you think that this kind of thing means for Nintendo? Or does it mean nothing because of the way that Nintendo consoles and fans really are?
You know, Sony doing this too is baffling to me and confusing to me, because you would think when you take a look at the Switch selling the numbers that it did, which you would have to attribute a large portion of that, all the first party exclusive and games that you can only play on the platform, and those games that are getting, you know, millions and millions, like 30, 40, 50 million units sold. You would think you would attribute that to the games. So I'm not sure why Xbox ever decided that going multi-platform was good for them as a hardware company. They've gone on record and said that they don't think exclusives sell a console. And now Sony doing it too. I'm starting to wonder if like it's just a matter of, sure, having first-party games on a console will make the console sell really well, but hardware sales don't matter to these companies. It's the software sales. It's how many games they can push. Because, you know, you sell one console one time, I guess, but if you can sell a game 5 or 6 different places, it's pure profit. You know, there's no sunken cost on the hardware. So I guess that's what Sony's going for now. And obviously with their testing on PlayStation, on PC, has shown them that, yeah, they're making money porting games somewhere else. So, yeah, I guess there's just more money in that than hardware. I don't know what else to take from it.
So I would only posit, and I this is speculation from my part, is that, and it has more to do with the exceedingly rising, like hockey stick costs of going to the latest nodes and the latest hardware.
Yeah.
And Microsoft and PlayStation have been exclusively playing in that field of uber high-end hardware. And Nintendo has been like, you know, given not so powerful hardware that costs less, and they actually make money on the hardware. Whereas Xbox and Sony are losing money, and it takes them a long time.
That's a good point.
So for them, all of the sales that they're getting are getting offset by the little money that they're making on the hardware. So for them to just be able to sell on another platform that they didn't have to pay a penny to actually make is just pure profit to them.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I would offer as a clear difference, is that especially with like the PS6 handheld, I think is going to be super successful, but it's going to be expensive. You're looking at like latest licensing, latest nodes, and that's not cheap. So I'm thinking like this is going to be like a $500 handheld, even though it'll be fantastic. But I mean, that's going to be $500. I think is like, poof, they might be losing money on that. So, yeah, I look at it through that angle where it's such these rising costs of everything, and let alone the tariffs and everything. That's just a whole other wrench in the works. But
I
So
think
here's my
it
question.
leaves-
Oh, good.
I was going to say to finalize the question. I think it leaves Nintendo in a good spot though, because it's a whole subsection of the gaming audience that are left only with Nintendo that just like it that way. You know what I mean?
So
Right.
my question is, they're talking about getting away from the hardware space. We saw a lot of Cyberpunk sales on the Switch 2. Like, are we going to see Last of Us Part 1 and 2 on Nintendo Switch 2? Like, is that a bridge too far? Like, at what point are they going to be like, you know what, we could do that too?
yeah, I don't think that's a bridge too far. I would posit myself that is like a reality that would happen.
I think Horizon might come first after the Lego game.
Right? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Follow the same
I don't know,
PC
man.
path.
Even if they had just like the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, like the first 3 games, I would buy the crap out of that game.
You could
and play it on
bundle in
Switch 2.
the Golden Abyss. What was the Vita?
Oh, the
Oh
PS
yeah,
Vita
right.
version.
Yeah,
and give it a boost too, for like all 4 games, and then give that one an overhaul.
That would be sad. Just getting that would be sad. And the Uncharted series, for what it's worth, is my favorite series from Naughty Dog over The Last of Us myself. But yeah, I personally think that, I think you're right, Russ, is like, I see more Sony titles coming to the Switch, and the Lego Horizon one was kind of testing the water, almost like how they tested the water with Horizon on PC, but they had already, these like from the NVIDIA leaks, they had already had like this huge salvo of stuff, let alone, all the Bloodborne stuff that was happening in the background. And
They hadn't yet acquired Nixes when the first Horizon came out, right?
I don't
That
believe so.
was a few years, a year or two before. So I think it was in their sites, but they didn't really commit to it, I don't think, until they were really acquiring Nixes. And that's when they were like, yeah, we're doing this. And, what would be crazy? What if Astrobot came to Switch?
Oh my gosh.
That'd be
Oh
amazing.
God.
I
be
think
crazy.
that all
Such a
the
good Nintendo
IPs
game.
and franchises would mess it up.
Mm.
I think it's just too
right.
many licensing. I thought about that too. I think it's all the licenses
You mean the little bots?
of the little bots would mess it
That's
up.
true.
I think.
That's true.
So it's just like just Nintendo properties instead.
Yeah, that would be awesome though. I do think Death Stranding is on the way, especially
Switch.
yeah for Switch 2. I think the first one will end up there eventually, especially after we saw that Nintendo Studios helped develop Death Stranding 2. Just feels like there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Makes me think of when Rocket League came to the Switch, and you could get like Mario cars and Luigi cars.
Yeah.
And they were only available on Switch.
You remember
What if
when
they-
Rocket League came to the Switch and it was $30 and everyone bought it and now it's free?
Yeah.
That was a
Yes,
time.
I remember because I bought it.
Yeah.
And I already owned it. on
There's a
PC.
physical.
To be fair, I don't regret it. Not at all. I put
game's
so
awesome.
many hours into Rocket League. Yeah.
I got actually the original I got for free because it was given to anybody who bought a Steam controller.
Okay.
What? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's so weird. There might be like some other circumstance, like people who connected it to Steam controller and Mac or something. Like it was just was just in your inventory. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't care about sports games. Of all of the sports that I would care about, I certainly would not care about soccer. This was a long time ago. I actually kind of like soccer now. And soccer with cars, why would I ever try this game? And I fired it up and I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah, it turned out to be one of the goats. At least
It really is.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off though. You were saying about the licensed properties in that game.
Oh, right. Well, it just would be crazy if they brought over Astrobot and, to get around all those licensing issues, they just reskin them with Nintendo characters instead.
Nintendo has enough that they could totally fill
Right.
that in. They're like,
Yeah.
how many you need? That's all.
And Astrobot would wear a hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
it reminds me of the
Mii
Soul
versions.
Calibur 2 times. You know, like, so they had Sony, you know, they had each, and so you can get the GameCube one with Link. But I bought it twice. I had it on Xbox and on GameCube because I wanted to play with Spawn. Like, that was awesome. Right?
Xbox and
So I could see this happening again, like sometime where there's like these multi-platform releases, and even if it's a Sony game or whatever, but you put in other IP. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah,
No,
that'd be cool too.
It's fine. I have a bad habit of getting excited and talking too soon. Also,
Russ is in Hawaii, so it like there's a delay for him.
Oh, okay. My favorite Soul Calibur one was the Yoda and the Darth Vader, because the Yoda was broken because he's so small.
He was
so
like
the
odd
hitbox
job
was
Yeah.
the odd job of Soul Calibur.
the hat guy,
You remember Odd Job in GoldenEye?
the guy that throws a hat.
I don't remember if he
How do you
does
not,
he throw.
how do you not know about this? He was like tiny, so his hitbox, it was like cheating. So if you had your little LAN nights with your friends playing GoldenEye, no one would be allowed to use Odd Job
Yeah.
because it was cheating.
Right.
GoldenEye. Okay, I thought you were talking about the movie,
No,
like
well,
the guy that throws a hat.
Gotcha.
There is
I mean,
there's
it is.
movies.
Yeah.
There are some movies.
Movies
They still
exist.
make them.
Yeah, they do. And now a TV show, apparently. All right, moving on to Xbox stuff. So first off, apparently the Xbox ROG Ally and ROG Ally X will be releasing on October 16th this year. But that's not the most interesting thing that came out. I saw this over at developer.microsoft.com. And this is the third link down in the show notes, but if you scroll down, it says they're basically saying we have some API stuff that using C code that developers are going to be using when focusing on these particular devices. And they said this handheld experience best practices release includes 2 samples that do these things: determine if a device is a handheld, determine if it's running battery power, charging, or using external power, look up device-specific properties, including integrated display properties, and handle DPI changes and scale UI accordingly. And there's a bunch of other stuff in there, but those first 4, I think, are super interesting because that sounds to me, and I'm not a developer, maybe I'm wrong, but that sounds to me that they're asking the devs to use this stuff when making games, to use it on this, and it's going to make it more Switch-like, where you can be playing it handheld and then just plug it in and it goes to your TV and upscales and does all of this other stuff that the Steam Deck doesn't. The Switch is very, what's the word? Frictionless. When you dock it, it is frictionless. When you dock a PC handheld like the Steam Deck or other stuff, then there's friction there. It's not as good of an experience. It's better than it was when it started, but it's not as good. And it feels like they're trying to make their Xbox handhelds through Asus very Switch-like for when you dock them. Rich, what do you think about this? Am I reading the room wrong?
I think you are. And so, like, as you were saying that, I was like, that's not how I read it. And so, like, because you were saying what you were saying, I'm like, oh, well, I can look at the code and we can see what the code says. So, like, in the
That's
code,
something I could do.
so, like, there's a function called is device handheld. And so it's a lot like the is Steam Deck property, where, like, in the Steam API, Valve added a check for Steam Deck, and it will return true if you're playing on a Steam Deck. It will return false if you're not. And then they later made it configurable so you can force that to be off, even though you are playing on a Steam Deck, or vice versa. But that's all it is, right? So it just says, is device handheld, true, false? Is device powered, true, false? Is device touch enabled, true, false? And is Bluetooth enabled, true, false? And then for like the DPI, it is just like, if you know the resolution, you set the UI scale using what you know about the resolution, which is actually a downgrade from how Steam Deck does it, right? Because Steam Deck has the compositor game scope that, like, it doesn't scale the UI for you, but it handles a lot of like the resolution stuff for you, whereas a lot of old games are not compatible with a lot of different resolutions, and GameScope just kind of does magic on it, and you don't have to worry about that. Whereas now you have to write this code to make sure it's taking advantage of the latest Windows features.
I think the benefit of that DPI change though is that developers are now being explicit with knowing the screen size and knowing the resolution and getting the DPI, where font size can automatically change based on the screen size. So if they know that it's like this, they're like, oh, this font has to be pretty huge to be readable. It can't be uber tiny because it's going to be not readable. Yeah. Whereas GameScope really doesn't have that information to deal with. And then you have to go into the options and then start moving the font around. So when you talk about like readability of words and other things, that is where this becomes a huge benefit. And not that this is like Steam Deck could just like, oh, they already have these things. We already have Proton and all the other stuff. Let's just add this in there and then just kind of shim that stuff in. So it's not like it would be absent of going to Steam Deck ever. It would just kind of relay that as it is. So I think that that's excellent. And having mindset of being on battery, I like that as well, because that implies understanding a fair amount more. And I hope I keep on pressing on this, and there's like behind the scenes talks of like things that I've been doing where I'm just like, look at this, look at what you're doing now, and look what I'm doing. I don't want to do this. You do it. And I hope that that's the eventual goal that we get to. But it's like, I know that that's like a huge ask, because that's like decoupling legacy ACB, legacy all power config type of stuff. And you'd have to streamline this. And like, you look at Intel, right? Like I'm redoing the Lunar Lake thing, and there's like 8 services running that manage power. And I don't think you need 8. Like, I think 1 and having the OS do it is far more than enough. So I don't know, when I see all these things, I feel like they're going down the right path. What we saw, Russ and I saw in California, I think was a good stepping stone. It remains to be seen how well, like, our wildest imagination actually translates to the end goal, because they're doing October, like an October release. So as far as Windows is concerned, for like this actual release is October, even though all of us might be getting it sooner. I wonder how good it will be, like, you know, in terms of like, oh, Xbox is going to work on this, and what does that mean? So I think for me, it's all like the stepping stone type of stuff, kind of like what Sony did with the PS5. They put in the low power mode, right? Because now developers can target the PlayStation 6 handheld. So it allows them to do that type of stuff, and who knows how much support actually gets done, but at least there's work that can be done now, or at least soon, to get this going.
I will say to their credit.
Go ahead, Russ.
I was going to say to their credit, their samples of C++ and Unity and whatnot are on GitHub. I clicked on these and I was fully expecting to go to some stupid Microsoft page where they've got this code or whatever. You got to log in, all that stuff.
Download a Word document.
Yeah, exactly. They threw it in GitHub, and we're just like, you know what? Let's just do the industry standard. So that to me is like just one little indication that maybe they're going to get this one right. I don't know.
But do you guys, you don't think that this allows them, the devs, to have different power profiles based on whether or not you're docked?
I do.
You do? Rich doesn't.
Well, so I think like in the immediate term, no. Because there's like a whole mess of things that they have to fix. Like there's the ACP standard. There's just all of that stuff that they have to fix. But when you, at the very least, what they could do is, if you say, oh, I'm on battery mode, I am running on a handheld, let's go to lowest setting mode. Does it have a Steam Deck preset? Put on Steam Deck preset. Like, all of these things can be done automatically without really touching system level hardware features. You can do game level settings automatically. That's true. Yeah. So that's the only thing. I mean, everything that Rich said about GameScope is dope. And GameScope is like and I said this a long time ago, it's the secret sauce for the Steam Deck, secret sauce for all the whole Linux gaming side of things. And it helps so much. And one of the reasons why, you know, native portrait displays are just, there's no problem on GameScope. It's like, oh, you have an AR, no problem. We just orient it this way and just pipe out. And you can do like mix and match. You say, you know, okay, I have this output, but I want to tell the game that I only have this input. So when you go to the settings, it's like, your resolution is this. And it's like, sure is. And GameScope just kind of like handles all that like magically. So GameScope is awesome and great. I think that this is also a really good stepping stone where they can do things immediately insofar as game settings. And my hope would be the hardware level side of things where we can really do like kind of like Switch 2 does, right? Like Switch 2 has different power performance levels that it runs on there. So it's like, for Link's Awakening, it gets like 3 hours of battery life, and for Cyberpunk, it gets 2 hours of battery life. So internally, Nintendo is like, we know what we can offer someone. So here's your power levels. Which one do you want? And as they're deving the game, they can say, we want this one. It's like, okay, now you have 4 hours of battery life. So it's like, I think like that's the end goal of where I would like to see it. But that's going to be a long time coming.
I'll say for the display properties, there are some functions I didn't mention as I scroll down that are really nice. So get device screen diagonal size in inches. So you can actually get the device size in inches. Get GPU info, which I think already existed. Get device HDR status, so you can get whether or not it's HDR, and then get all screen resolutions, which also existed already. But I assume this is a quality of life that makes it nicer to get all the screen resolutions.
I'm telling you that font change, like Baldur's Gate 3, when I first played it on my Win 3, when it was like the early access one, the font was like uber tiny. And I was like, oh, this is not going to work. So just having this thing that it could automatically just up, like, oh, the font size has to be way larger. Just doing that automatically without like really, and just having the screen size information is pretty huge. And, it's going to take some time to go forward, but I'm thankful for these things.
Wood, you're mostly a Switch guy, but I know that you also have PC handhelds. Like you have the Lenovo Legion Go. Do you have a Steam Deck?
Yeah, I got like them all, really, I think, for the most part.
Are you interested in the Xbox handheld or
no? I mean, I don't know how much is new or different in it, but it's a ROG Ally. I have a ROG Ally, and I also just got the new Lenovo Legion Go 2, whatever, and that thing's a beast. It's really fun. I actually really like it a lot. And when I got that, by the way, I also like that everyone else is so smart and gets the really smart, nerdy questions, and then it's like, Wood, how do you feel about the things you like? Which I see what's happening. Yeah, the Lenovo Legion Go is... when I got that, I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to play all my games on this. And then the Switch 2 came out, and I haven't touched it since. But I will say, to your point about being able to dock it, I think that is the next thing that all of these handhelds need to address and find something to do something with that. Because they're obviously beating the Switch when it comes in raw power and being able to push games to their limits like a little handheld PC. But they just completely lack the whole element of being able to then take that and put it onto your TV and dock it in a way we actually get. I remember I tried docking my Steam Deck once with the Steam Deck dock, and it looked horrible. It just looked so bad, like 720p or whatever on my TV. So if they can figure that out, I think that's the next step that these handhelds have to do. Although I don't know like what the legality is there. If they release a handheld with a dock, like ROG Ally has like a dock, like would Nintendo get upset?
I think so.
Well, I mean, the Steam Deck has a dock, so...
But it's separate. I don't know if that mattered.
Oh,
I know what you mean. Like making a true hybrid console.
Yeah, like does Nintendo patent the whole hybrid?
Well, I mean, they're the most litigious company on the planet, I think. So, yeah, probably. They probably already have it banned.
That would be so hilarious, right? Like, hey, we see you have a way to get more power when you have it docked. Is that also a Pokeball right next to it?
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
There is going to be, there is like a shining light in all of this. And that is like, we haven't heard much about it. I think it was supposed to come out like a month ago, is the new XG mobile setup from Asus, right? It's like that external GPU that kind of, it's Thunderbolt 5. So it's like new technology. And the idea was that this would kind of be that dockable solution. You take your handheld, doesn't have to be an Asus one. It just needs to have Thunderbolt, right? Plug that into that. That's your dock, so to speak. And that's going to, triple, quadruple your performance, and that would be kind of amazing.
The only thing
we haven't really heard about it. I'm assuming they're running into issues with it and whatnot. I don't have a review in it, so
I think the weird thing about that one is because they were like, "Oh yeah, it's Thunderbolt 5," and it's like, "Is the Xbox ROG Ally Thunderbolt 5?" Oh no, that's Thunderbolt 4. And I'm like, "Oh okay, cool,
good job."
Yeah,
well. But Russ, didn't you have all kinds of problems with the, like, when you would dock it and like, because it was a NVIDIA GPU
that was also the bigger one, the original one, right?
The original one was great because it was proprietary, which this is a weird sentence to say, but man, it worked so good with that ROG Ally, the first one. You plug it in, it only worked on that and like a couple of their laptops or whatever, but man, it just worked. The thing is all the other ones, like these like generic like USB 4 ones, they often will come into conflicts between AMD and NVIDIA and drivers and whether or not, because a lot of these handhelds have their own drivers loaded up and some of those don't have support for eGPUs. And so it just causes all sorts of issues. And so, yeah, it's still a wild, wild west getting it to work. If you go onto the eGPU like subreddit, it's just like a wasteland of like people not being able to figure out how to get it to connect and stuff. So that's still an issue and probably will continue to be an issue. But man, that to me feels like the solution is to put an eGPU somewhere and not just like, okay, now I'm seeing like with Wood, the Steam Deck, where it's like, okay, it looks great on the small screen, but now 720p on my big TV is terrible, right? Like you need an actual bump in like that gaming experience. And I think that an eGPU solution would probably give you that.
The opposite one would be doing Strix Halo. So Strix Halo, you run in like 15, 20 watt on a handheld state. And then when you dock it, you just push it to 45 watt. So there's no eGPU at all. You just push more power into it. And then, you just get all that more performance out of it.
Which is basically what the Switch does. I mean, the Switch doesn't definitely do that, but it uses less power when it's on battery mode.
It 100% does that. Like the difference between, like it's like 8.6 watt total. Is like max that'll do a handheld, and then you bump up to like 20 watts. So it's almost a doubling of how much power it'll use between docked and undocked. That's huge. So yeah, it's along those same lines is doing that. But I mean, you could effectively do the same thing on a Steam Deck. You just wouldn't, right? You wouldn't be like running a Steam Deck at like 5 watt and then dock and go to 15 watt. I'd be like, man, this is so much better. You just do 15 watt on the handheld and keep it 15 watt when you dock, and you're like, oh crap. I've just made this worse for myself.
So, Wood, what's your favorite fruit?
My wife and I have been getting into watermelon lately. Just buying like a big. We found how to get a perfect one with the little yellow spot on the bottom, and when it sounds hollow, and a fresh watermelon in the summer. I got to tell you, you can't beat it.
Nice. Yeah, got to look for those sugar lines. That's an important thing too.
I don't know about that. I'll look into that. I'll Google that.
It's like the little
how
brown
many
lines
pixels are in a watermelon, I wonder.
Carrie, what's the RPM of watermelon?
I have no idea anything about this watermelon stuff. This is intriguing.
Watermelon is good.
Is it dockable?
Is it dockable? Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about. Okay, Russ, you have. I forget what it's called. The Play Action. Is that the thing with the little hand crank on the side?
Playdate.
Yeah,
Playdate.
That's what they're doing with the Joy-Con, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just say, I own a Playdate, and I've never used it. Rich actually uses a Playdate, so he's the guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Rich just pulled a carry and just
it was
manifested a device out of nowhere.
Yeah. It was ready.
Well, so talk about that thing, and then I'll tell you why.
Okay, so the Playdate is super cool. It's also, I don't know how practical it is for most people. It is in like almost e-ink screen with no backlight, and it's really tiny. So like a lot of people, would want like a Playdate Pro, but it's all like custom games partially because of the crank. So it has the crank. You can do that. And I bought a 3D printed handle.
I love that.
So you could have like a wheel, right? So that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And it has, bespoke black and white games that work with the crank. So it's a really unique device. It's a little pricey at like $180, something like that, $180. Yeah. And again, really small, 2 buttons and a crank. And and also the games come like on like these seasons. So I think we're on season 2. We just finished season 2, I want to say. So like that's how they do the games, where you buy a season of games and every week they unlock new games. Although there is like a whole other library where you can buy and download games.
2 buttons and a crank is my Beck cover band.
2 buttons and a crank.
So the reason I bring this up, and Wood earlier talked about Nintendo patenting things. Nintendo made a patent featuring a crank and clickable wheel attachments for Joy-Con 2. Basically, you use the Joy-Con, you use the little magnetic thing to slap this thing on the side, and it basically looks like the Playdate.
Playdate. It sounds like Panic, the company behind Playdate, has a lawsuit on their hands.
Yeah, no, Nintendo's
Certainly, if it was Nintendo.
Nintendo's already bashing in their doors.
I know.
We're here to sue you. It's like, we were here first. And we're like, too bad.
But you didn't patent it. Wood, what do you think about this? Is this, I mean, obviously you'll get it because you cover all of this stuff, but is this something that you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I would get it because of that reason. But also, does this mean it's going to happen? Nintendo does just patent things sometimes. Just wacky
wrong.
little ideas.
Well, let's just pretend that it's going to happen.
Okay, so my first thought when I saw this is like a fishing reel, and I wonder if there's some kind of fishing game in the works or something like that. I don't know what else, unless they are literally doing a play date situation and porting a bunch of really interesting games over from that or making their own. It seems like maybe an attachment for something fishing, Link's fishing training or something. I don't know.
I could see that.
I don't know what else it would be for, really. But I'll get it. I'll mess around with it. It's a weird accessory. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. Weird
Scary?
accessories are fun.
They are.
So fun, guys. Am I right?
It's just an
Terry,
extension.
you have a wall of things behind you that you were just looking at. What are you thinking about this Nintendo's Playdate patent?
You can't see it. It's all the way up there. It's a bunch of Nintendo Labo stuff still in boxes. So I was just going to say this is just a Nintendo Labo 2 is all this comes down to, is different things to slap on a Joy-Con 2.
Yeah, but they could, so like Link's Awakening, right? The remake. Like, what if they did a remastered version of that? Like, kind of like a $10 upgrade thing that you can get for Breath of the Wild and whatnot. But then also they sold this alongside it. And I don't know, they could probably.
I would hope the update would be free, like especially because you're like, they're going to charge like, I don't know, Alarmo prices for this crank on a Joy-Con 2. So, I mean, I could totally see it though, right? Because Link's Awakening totally has that entire scene, the 2D fishing segment.
Yeah.
I could see it.
But yeah,
good. I was gonna say when the Switch one first launched, way back when, I had this little theory in my head that Nintendo were going to release all different kinds of Joy-Cons, like different button layouts, but also like maybe a GameCube one or like a fishing reel one or like all these different things you could switch in and out. So I'm still waiting for that, and this is kind of that. I mean, you can't attach this back to the tablet, but it's kind of the idea of like you switch it, I guess now you don't really switch it out. I guess you do. You magnet it out, and then you magnet something back on, and now you have this new thing, and then you take that off, and then you magnet something else on, and now you can do this thing. So there's an avenue there, I think, for maybe this could be like one thing in a set of a bunch of things that could come out, like labor for like you said.
Yeah.
You got me thinking now, like Twilight Princess, like they come out with Twilight Princess HD, right? And then they have this as a pack-in. Because I remember doing a lot of fishing in that one. I mean, you had the Wii mode back then, but like that would be kind of cool too. And I can see there's a lot of cool stuff. Nintendo should hire all of us, and we'll just come up
the
with
goofy
stuff.
thing is, let's say it is a fishing reel, right? So like now you have a fishing reel. It has motion in it, so you can just.
Yeah,
you can just turn it to its side and do that. You don't need to do like a whole thing. So that's why I'm really lost on like what that is for.
Well, I think it would have to be for a dedicated game, not like you wouldn't want to be in the middle of was it Link's Awakening or whatever game and be like, oh, I have to switch my configuration around, pull that off, but slap that on in order to play that section.
Like imagine it's its own fishing game, right? And then you do this. Again, you could have just done this with the whole Joy-Con. It just seems superfluous.
Yeah, you could totally do it just the two Joy-Cons.
Do you like playing games on your phone where you can't feel buttons? Because I don't. Right. So
really,
this you can feel a thing in your hand.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
You can crank it.
Yeah.
Right.
You get that crank feeling that you desire.
Right.
You know what I'm craving, Nintendo? I'm craving that crank feeling.
But yeah,
all right.
I do love that. That is something and that's why I got the Playdate, right? Is these just whack. I'm worried now that Carrie said that it's going to be like priced to ridiculous
prices.
Yeah, that would be terrible. But like, I do like this like sense of novelty. Just I don't know about the crank necessarily, but I like that about the Playdate, where it's just like, oh, this gives you room to make something different than you would have. And, you know, these days all controllers are pretty much exactly the same. We argue about like whether we should have symmetrical joysticks versus asymmetrical joysticks, and and that is better, like almost objectively, but I do miss some of the novelty of different control schemes.
I will say that if we take that as like an analogy of like Nintendo, I consider it for the better, is that they are such a traditional company and have stuck to traditional arcade philosophy. You come to a game to play games and have fun, and you have like Xbox and PlayStation where you're playing games for rewards. So you have the live service and games as a service type of thing. And, you know, that's the Chuck E. Cheeseification is where they are, but Nintendo's still firmly in the you play games for fun territory, and I'm for one grateful.
Yeah. Speaking of the last Nintendo story we have, there was an indie world. There was a lot of stuff in it. If you guys haven't watched it, you can see each game in the thing in the show notes. When I look at this, there was one game that jumped out at me, and the rest was like, whatever. But Mina the Hollower, that game looks awesome. I am a huge fan of Yacht Club Games. I loved Shovel Knight, played the hell out of that game. And to see their next game come out in October, I think, very, very excited for that.
Guys, let's talk about FPS. We love it. That game is 120 FPS on the Switch too.
No way.
Oh,
it's true. They tweeted at Bob, actually.
That's awesome.
Oh, right. That's the one where Bob's like took a close up to his face.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I think that is the second 120 FPS game on the Switch 2 that we know about. Right? Like there's Welcome Tour that can do it.
Oh, right. I was like, what's the first?
and now Mina, which I think is that's the only two.
It freaking looks amazing.
So so the thing is when we look at the 120 frames per second on the Switch, like the not the ghosting issue, but the blur, is it ghosting?
Yeah,
blur issue. I'm just trying to remember everything because I didn't plan on talking about this.
Yeah.
But there was like it's kind of blurry, and some people noticed that I never really noticed it. It's fine for me.
I don't notice it.
Right. Some people are blessed, like you and me, that we just don't see that shit.
That our eyes are bad.
Right. And other people are like, this is an abomination. I can't look at this.
Yeah.
Apparently the higher the frame rate, the worse it gets on the Switch. Or Switch 2, sorry. So is that a good thing that it's 120 frames per second? Wood, what do you think?
Well, for one, I don't think Mina the Hollower has to be 120 frames. I think that game would be fine in 60.
Yeah.
But I've never actually seen ghosting. I probably have to go back to Welcome Tour and watch the ball real closely as it goes across the screen in 120 frames. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what it looks like. I mean, if it looks blurry and ghosty, that'll suck. And hopefully you can lock it to 60. But I still haven't seen that in action without someone taking a camera recording of the screen at like 240 frames or whatever and slowing it down. So,
yeah.
Gary, you can see it, right?
It's pronounced in a few different games. Cyberpunk is atrocious. I have to actually enable blurring to mask it. Link's Awakening, it's hard to see. I can only see it when I pan around the camera, and I can see like the trail edges of it on certain high contrasty areas. So when it goes from like the bright greens to like a gray rock, I can see the trail, and it just catches my eye, and I'll look and it'll be fine. And I'll go back to playing, and then it'll just happen again. So it's just this constant slight distraction where it becomes this thing that catches my eye. And that's where I have the biggest problem with it. So I've just been playing docked, really. So like Donkey Kong, I just played entirely docked, and it was dope. It was fantastic docked. I had a great time.
If you guys look at that list, are there any other games on the list that they showed off at the Indie World that were something that you guys were interested in?
Can we talk about Mina the Hollower?
Yes, I was going to say.
So good.
Yeah.
Like it is Zelda and Castlevania and Blaster Master. There's like so many things going on with this, and it looks so deep Like, I cannot wait to play this game. Like, I kind of been following it a bit, but I just sat down and watched the trailer 3 times during Carrie's rant, and it is so good. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. This is like a day one purchase. I'm really loving this. And
that's how we judge Carrie rants. This one's about 3 rants. It's about 3 rants long.
Yeah. What's the Carrie rant threshold on this one?
I will say, Mina the Hollower, the demo was available during the last Next Fest. I tried it. It was amazing. Like, and I like Shovel Knight. I wasn't as in love with Shovel Knight as everyone else was. I think it's a really good game. I really like it. I was in love with Mina the Hollower. I like this.
Isn't it like, it's like Link's Awakening, no?
It is a little more action oriented. Like they're intense, or at least there was one intense boss battle in the demo, and so I'm expecting more of that. So like there's more. It's Zelda with a little more action, I would say, and like swappable weapons and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it.
I think there's a little bit of Souls in there too, a little bit of Dark Souls.
Yes.
I played it 2 PAXs ago. Celia was there and had me set up on it, and I played it was like a vertical slice or something. It was a proof of concept, I think she said. So like it was before they really got into the weeds. So I played a version of the game, but that version, that taste was awesome. And it was really, really fun.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, I can't wait for this. Again, huge fan of Yacht Club Games. Shovel Knight's amazing. Shovel Knight Dig, I put like 30 hours into Shovel Knight Dig. It's so addictive. You could just, I died. Well, I just jumped down again. You know, it's like that gameplay loop that just keeps, it's so easy to just jump right in. And I just love that one. I never did pick up their puzzle game, though. I forget what it's called. It's another Shovel Knight game.
I didn't play that one either.
Yeah.
Pocket Dungeon?
Night.
Yes, that's it. Pocket Dungeon.
Just on the note of the other games, a lot of the games, I mean, like a lot of people end up just spamming, Hollow Knight, Silksong in these indie worlds, but all of the games look good. One of them that caught my eye was Is This Seat Taken, which just
I've been playing that.
Wait, how is it?
It's good. It shadow dropped that day. It's cutesy. It's only $10.
Awesome. Yeah, so I wanted to play that on Steam Deck. I was gonna download the demo. Just a cozy like puzzle game, right?
Yeah. There's these little like shape people, and they all have specific wants and needs of where they want to sit in the environment. They either don't want to be next to someone that smells, and then you'll have someone that smells. So you got to like keep them all apart, and it's a puzzle because this person wants, to be next to food and not next to a smell, but also wants to be next to his buddy. So it's like, okay, how am I gonna? But yeah, it's pretty satisfying once you get everything into place.
Very cool.
I really like Content Warning. I've played that before on Steam with my friends on stream. It's a game where I don't know if you guys have played it or seen it, but it's a game where it's actually, I think, the only Switch 2 game that was in the entire event. It's like proximity chat. You all get little camcorders, and you have to go into this scary like dungeon, and the idea is to film you and your friends. You film like selfie style, or you film front on. You try and film monsters and creatures and just things happening. And then if you make it out, like hopefully you do, you all go back to your little house and you put the tape in, and then you watch it like a live stream of everything that happened. And there's a little fake chat, and the idea is to get as many views as possible, and you get more currency to buy more things the more views you get. But it's hilarious. And one thing I really hope they do is the faces of the characters are round. And I think it's just it's like a default face too. I think it's the perfect place to put the Nintendo Switch 2 camera, because you're already out there vlogging. There's so many moments where you're doing it selfie style, and then you start screaming because like your friend dies or like you die. So if you could see your actual face in that moment when you're watching it back, it would elevate the game. And it's like Switch 2, so why not?
Right. That's a great idea. I love that. Yeah.
2026 though, and there's a lot of games coming to Switch from these third parties that I think, unfortunately, being so delayed in release because Nintendo was so stingy handing out dev kits.
Yeah.
Because Content Warning's a year old already. The memes kind of come and gone. Next year, 2026, I mean, that seems too late. but you know,
especially if it doesn't do that camera thing that you were just talking about. If I think they could kind of meme it back into existence with the camera thing.
Yeah.
But without that, like, why would you?
I know the camera would. It just seems like such a, especially because like the camera. Every time you see like Mario Kart, Mario Party, it's a circle. Their faces are a circle. They have to be thinking about that.
I really hope they are, because they could, like you said, Bill, they could definitely meme it back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Anybody else for Indie World before we move on?
I was just going to mention UFO 50 is now out on Switch.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Part of that announcement,
the physical came out.
Oh, did it?
Did you buy it?
Yeah. It was like $30 at VGP, so I was like on the fence. So yeah, I was. I'm probably going to buy it. I don't have nearly as many physical as Wood does, but I'm probably I don't know, maybe like a quarter of the way there.
I don't know. Between the three of you, you carry you Wood and you Russ. That's a lot of physical right there.
Got them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only one of us went into a GameStop and like bought all of them. That was not.
Yeah, I did do that.
Yeah.
He did do that.
The Indie World was great though. I liked everything in it. It was very cozy focused, but yeah, I do hate, as I think Rich said, it was always, people always get so excited for like Hollow Knight and then say it sucks when there's no Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Sure. Was it weird they ended with a sizzle reel and there was no one more thing? Yes.
Yeah.
Would haunted chocolate era been awesome to see? Yes. But yeah, I thought everything was really fun and cute. It's an indie world. They're indies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Should
Well,
be wholesome.
I'm very much looking forward to Mina. I think that game looks great. That's the one that jumped out at me. All right, let's move on. We had this call came into our voicecast.app/nerdnest. You can go there and you can leave a call, and then we'll play it on the show and we'll talk about it. So this one came in the other day. I got to hit the button.
Hey, Bill. I just watched Rich's video recently about the Steam Deck 2 rumors and how false they were. And it got me thinking about the home Steam Deck console again. So for that, would you guys prefer a very small form factor computer like a B-Link mini PC that you really can't swap out too much on it? Or would you prefer something a little bigger that allows for user upgrades of maybe a CPU or video card down the line?
All right. So before we answer the actual question, I want to give Rich a second to talk about the video that he made, because it was really interesting about how there was this podcast with Moore's Law is Dead and our friend Jimmy, and basically they were just shooting the shit kind of like we are here, and then all of the news sites picked up on that and they started basically saying, this is what's happening. This is running right parallel to what happened with Wood's video.
Yeah, it was like
works, huh?
It was like 2 or 3 days before your video, and I was like, whoa. Yeah, so like my video was exactly how you said it, Bill. It was Jimmy and Moore's Law is Dead on a podcast. They were talking about Tom of Moore's Law is Dead made mention of Magnus APU, which is he leaked it APU from AMD, which now looks like it's targeted for the Xbox console. Yes, okay. But at the time when he was talking about it, all he really knew, and I think at the time he was leaning towards PS6, but all he really knew was that it was meant for some dedicated gaming hardware. It was not meant for like laptops and desktops. So in that way, it was meant for a specific customer vis-a-vis Sony, Microsoft, and maybe possibly Valve. And so like just the way it got turned into Valve is making a new Steam Deck and it's going to be powered by this and it's going to be this powerful, and it was insane the way that took off. And it was really just Notebook Check that started this article, and then everybody copied Notebook Check's homework, which is very similar to what happened with your video.
So now that everyone knows that's not a thing, is everyone really mad at him or you and want someone canceled? That's
a good question. I think that Tom from Moore's Law is Dead and Jimmy both caught a lot of flack, and there are criticisms that you could levy against, anybody, right? But I don't think in this case that neither Tom or Jimmy were in any way responsible for this.
Why'd you say that? I did.
Exactly. He did it. He didn't say that. So like I get it. But I think to me the responsibility was with Notebook Check and then every other site that, by the way, what I don't know if you saw, but one of the things that happened was Jimmy's name was spelled wrong on the first site. So his name is Jimmy Champagne. It sounds like a stage name. It's not. It's his real name.
An awesome name,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And so Champagne is spelled without a G, and Notebook Check spelled it with a G, and then every site spelled it with a G. So just to show,
that is very interesting,
isn't it?
Like that's exactly like
you should have documented it and made a video of some kind of social experiment.
Some people have done that. Tell us about yours.
Why? What do you want to know?
Well, it's not necessarily that we want to know anything about yours. Well, okay. So I think that when like Rich posted on your video, like a comment saying, I forget, what did you say, Rich?
I said, Wood talking about cognitive biases, and I forget what other thing I said, but cognitive biases is not what I expected.
Oh, that was your comment? That got a lot of likes.
Yeah, but I'm here for it, right? Like I really enjoyed that because you talked about authoritative,
authority bias. Yeah,
authority bias. You talked about several. I'm not going to remember them now, but I really I don't know if your leak did more harm than your video did good. I have no idea. I am hopeful that your video did much more good than the leak did harm. That is my general sentiment.
Yeah, the only difference between Wood's video and what happened with Jimmy and Tom, is his name Tom? Tom.
Yeah.
The only difference is that Wood did it on purpose to make a point.
It's a big distinction.
And they did it by accident, but both things followed the exact same path, which to me almost completely vindicates what Wood was doing.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Be careful. Right. Be careful what you say now.
I don't give a shit if people get mad at me about this. It makes perfect sense. And it also made me feel guilty about using the word leak in my YouTube videos.
Don't feel guilty.
But that's the thing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. When I did what I did, it's because things like this happen all the time. Right. And like the situation that you're talking about right now, people aren't like crazy mad at the people responsible, because these things happen. And that's kind of what I thought I was getting myself into, is like the rumor game. I thought I was just going to like spread a little rumor for a video and see what happens. It blew so crazy out of control, to the point where it really did feel like people were affected. I mean, the idea was that it was supposed to be like a victimless crime, if you want to call it a crime. Like there wasn't supposed to be anybody hurt. I couldn't foresee how that could possibly happen. But yeah, these things happen all the time, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to see if I could make it happen, and then I wanted to watch how it happened, and I wanted to document how it happened, and I wanted to see if there was any kind of solution or anything that we can do, as you said, by changing terminology. Nintendo Prime was another one that admitted that he used leaks in titles instead of rumors, even though when he knows it's a rumor and not a leak, because he knows it gets more views, and he said he was going to try and shift that moving forward. So like I think good came out of it. I think change happened because of it. In saying that, I don't expect anybody to change the way that they run their channels or run their lives or pay, they get their bills paid for their family. Like if someone made some social experiment silly video in the gaming space and then came to me and were like, hey Wood, you got to change the way you do this because I've realized something, I would tell them to get stuffed. Like it's not, so I don't expect anyone to change anything. It was more of just an observation of what happened, and if in a perfect society everybody labeled things correctly, everybody was really careful to not spread misinformation, then it wouldn't spread as easily. I actually sat down with a psychologist a couple days ago, and I have that on my podcast, but he's spent 30 years researching misinformation, and he said that really the only way we can ever get to a point where there's no misinformation is if we develop a society where everyone as a community understands that if you are to give some information, you have to provide proof alongside that information. And it's obviously not reasonable. I mean, he paralleled it to the president right now. He said, imagine if every time he said something, he had to provide evidence. There would be a lot less misinformation spread around every single day online. So, and that was in a loose way my point, that I had no evidence at all, and everyone believed it anyway, which ultimately came down to the reality of how does that happen? Authority bias. And
Correct.
the people involved in your story, Rich, they obviously must be some kind of authority in the space. They must know a lot and work with Steam Deck, or, you know, it goes over my head what you were saying. But
No worries.
they must be some kind of authority to the point where people took them seriously. And then it spread. And then, as you said, misinformation, even down to the name, it all just kind of, one article gets copy pasted by someone else. With me, it was saying something like insider, gets copy and pasted somewhere else. And then the misinformation spreads like that. And it all comes from a source that people deem as an authority, and they don't feel the need to go and check the source.
Yeah, and I'll add a couple things. First, the like cost benefit analysis of good versus bad. The reason I say I don't know yet is because I feel like the dust is still settling and will be settling for some time, right? But if people learn from this, I think it's obviously a net benefit. And to that point, authority bias is interesting, right? Because my first reaction, because I too saw the Reddit thread before I ever saw what you said on the podcast. I didn't watch that episode of the podcast. I saw the Reddit thread, and I'll tell you, my first reaction was like, I've never heard of wood leaking anything.
Thank you.
I've never heard of that. That was my first reaction, right? And so I say that to say, authority bias, there is a truth to that, but it's not what people I think have construed from your video, which is that surprise, someone that it has a lot of views is believed, right? Because that is what happened, but that's not what should happen, right? You don't necessarily have a track record for these things. So I think that deserves scrutiny. That's not to say you're not believed or whatever, but it deserves a level of scrutiny that wasn't applied by the people that just wanted the clicks and stuff like that.
Not only that, but people were believing him because he'd never leaks anything. Like I saw in his video, people saying things like that.
Oh, Chicken Little.
Yeah, when I said that I never expected it to go viral and people were like, how could you think that? There was so many elements at play. And for me, it was like, I see people like Nate the Hate leak things all the time so accurately, and he'll still leak something and people won't believe him. I had no credibility. People said you lost credibility. People were like, you've lost credibility as a leaker. I'm never going to believe your leaks again. I saw that everywhere. And I was like, I didn't think I had any. But to your point, like I appreciate now that I'm an authority in the space. I never saw myself that way. I never realized how strong that was, to the point that like certain things I say can be just so fully believed and go viral like that. Like I never saw myself that way, and I appreciate it so much, but I don't necessarily think it should be that way. I don't think that just because someone has a couple million subs, you should believe everything they say. Like, I don't know if that's a world we should live in. And I think that's how misinformation spreads. I honestly think there are so many things you can learn from the video. I've seen people say that there isn't and that it was a waste of time. But I honestly think there is a lot you can learn. I mean, I sat down with a psychologist who's been studying it for 30 years, and he agreed that there's a lot that we can learn from the video. And that while I was off base with some things, I wasn't with others. So, I don't know what else to say. What do you want me to say?
No, that was great. It was, I think,
I appreciate
my favorite wood video.
Oh, thank you. It's so bizarre. It is the most controversial thing I've ever done. I never thought it would be. When I uploaded that video, I was so excited to show people what I had done. And there was an immediate regret, I've just canceled myself because negativity came in thick and fast. But it's very bizarre because looking at my metrics, it has twice as many likes as a normal video around that many views, which is awesome. It's like very well received in my community, and then that like twice as well. But at the same time, it has 77-ish, last time I looked, % likes, which 10,000 likes, that means there's about 2,000 to 3,000 dislikes, and my videos don't get dislikes. And that's not a ratio I'm necessarily happy with. Like, I can't really take solace in it when thousands of people are hitting dislike and thousands of people are upset. I did not mean for it to be controversial, but I do appreciate everybody that liked it. That means a lot to me.
So I think the only thing that I would add here is that, unfortunately, and this is like, there's a part of this where the UK has laws where it's illegal to take advantage of people that aren't smart enough to not be taken advantage of. Like, you can't have multi-level marketing in the UK. It's not, you can't do that type of stuff. In the US, we have things where businesses can prey on people that can be preyed upon because they are gullible or they will believe something. And that's totally A-okay. I've always had the mindset of like, we all have to have learning experiences going through our lives, and everyone has that. And there's always someone that never had that before. So it's always like kind of like a hit or miss thing where it's like, you know, that scene where the guy has the noose around his neck. He's like, first time. It's like that type of thing where for people that are not in that situation, there's a lot of different feelings and they get so swept up with the emotion of it. And there's lots of that in the whole politics thing where people just start, you know, divorcing themselves from logic and a lot of other stuff and just going to their base emotions. And there's a lot of that goes in there. And I commiserate and sympathize with your feelings on not recognizing the power of your own voice. Because I have made some offhanded tweets that have landed on Tom's hardware. And I was like, what the hell? Like, why is that an article?
Yeah.
Like, I just fired off a tweet and just put my phone down and just like walked away. And after that, it really dawned on me that I was like, crap, I have to like be super mindful of everything I say. Like, you know, there's rants that I do, right? And I'll just like, whatever, shitpost. And it'll be an article for some reason. And that's something that's super strange to me. And it's happened a few times. So I commiserate with that. And it's just like, I think part and parcel with the whole gig of how it is. So I'm not saying that you're in the wrong. I think your heart was in the right place where you were establishing a thing where you're saying, look, we have to come to grips with all this stuff, that we should not be believing this stuff wholesale. And we should always have this being skeptical of anything that is not factual. And I think I agree. Like, there's sometimes that I've wanted to make tweets that are a thread where I would say something that is like, you could read it and it would be complete, but if it would just go to like the next thread, it would like counter what that previous thread was, but it would just get people like, did you read the full thread? Did you, like, did you do all of your reading? There's stuff like that where I stop myself because I know that's just super troll area. But yeah, I don't know. I commiserate with the whole situation. I think everything will blow over eventually, but I think your heart was in the right place. So I don't know.
Thank you. I want to stress, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I said it in the video, and I'll say it to death. I would never have done this ever in a million years if I knew it was going to upset and hurt people. It's just not an outcome that I ever saw being a reality. And I don't know how to explain how I didn't see that, because it's so obvious now, and obviously everybody's seen it happen. So it's like, it's almost impossible to put yourself in my shoes, a month ago before I did it. But, rumors come and go, like the one we were talking about before. They come and go all the time, and people don't get hurt. People don't get upset. People don't try and cancel someone over it. People don't, take it to heart like that, because they're rumors at the end of the day. At least that's always been my perception. And that's why I did it. It's 'cause I never thought I was stepping into a world that would go out of my control. And until that point, I think that if I didn't admit to it and I had have hid from it, it would have just gone away, and people wouldn't have been upset. I could have just said it was a bad source, and it's almost like no harm, no foul. People wouldn't believe my leaks again, but they wouldn't want my head.
Right.
So yeah, admitting to it was almost my biggest fault in all of it, other than doing it. And again, I wouldn't have done it if I knew that it would hurt or if it would hurt people. I just didn't see a realm.
Right.
Not just people. I'm sure even more so, and you expressed it in your video, even more so knowing that it was Animal Crossing folks. Like,
I would have absolutely left Animal Crossing off the list.
Nobody
like,
wants to hurt the Animal Crossing.
I know.
Folks.
My wife is one. I thought I was in the community.
Same.
It's some people have also said like if you just didn't put Animal Crossing in, it all would have been fine. And to me, it's like, but it's still a lie. It doesn't matter if it's Witcher, if it's this, if it's that. It's still a lie. It doesn't change anything. But you're right. You are right. Ultimately, it wouldn't have mattered if I didn't say Animal Crossing. And I think that's a distinction that is very interesting, because it really comes down to people just feeling hurt over Animal Crossing.
I will.
I think
So
that-
let me add one
go ahead,
baseline for the listeners, and I was just going to add that the leak that Wood gave it sounds kind of big, but to me I thought it was very innocuous. It was literally just saying there's going to be a Nintendo Direct, and here are maybe some games that are going to be on it. So just for those who haven't seen the video, and that's a leak of that. There's a potential to see some trailers and to see some games announced. Like that was the extent of the leak. And yeah, I mean, there are people on Reddit who are like, "You ruined my entire month." Like I saw a post about that, and it's like, okay,
I'm not lying when I say that someone messaged me to say, and this is going to sound extreme. I've gotten so many of them, but they messaged me to say that their mum is sick. And the only thing that had brought her joy in the last month was knowing that an Animal Crossing was about to be revealed. And I just took that away from her. And I'm not kidding. I don't want to, I can send it to you so you can see it. But yeah, that's.
So there's a part of me that I am skeptical that that's a real thing. And I the only reason I'm going to say this is because I had made a video of I had made Roblox toys for my son. It's no longer on my channel. I got rid of it because I was just worried that it was like giving Roblox stuff to my channel when I'm not a Roblox channel at all. But it was a very popular video that I had, one of the most popular videos I had made. And so many kids loved because they didn't have it. And there was so many kids leaving me things like, I wish my dad would make me those toys. And I was like, what am I supposed to say here? I'm not going to send you anything. And I'm sorry that he didn't, but it was this guilt trip that they were kind of venomously leaving in the comments. And I was just like, what am I supposed to do with this? So I don't know. I would just say that I would not take it wholesale as a truth. It could be, and I'm not trying to say one thing or the other, but I don't know. So sometimes people just want to give that guilt trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know that it got so out of control I mean, you look at the videos, my video itself, the podcast got 70K views, and then the video I made has 150, but it got millions. The leak got millions of views and attention across all the platforms and Reddit and Twitter and everything. And then into just generic casual gamer TikTok feeds. So I don't know who was affected or how they were affected. All I know is more people online now know me as the guy that lied to them than anything else, which, there's my biggest mistake in all of it too. And I've said this as well, but my plan was, when I make videos, I always make them for my community at the end of the day, right? That's the point, is I make a video for beat 'em ups or I make a podcast for Nintendo. I'm not making it for Twitter. So when I did it, I was like, I'm going to do this on the podcast and reveal it on my channel, and people are going to be like, oh, that's why he did that. I completely forgot that there'd be no payoff for, if it went viral, for thousands, if not millions of people that don't get a video out of it, because what are they going to get? Some guy that lied to them, they're going to come watch a video and become a fan. So there's no payoff for most of the people that were affected as well, which was another oversight.
I think one way that you can look at it, and then we'll move on from this, is
sorry. So I didn't want to.
No, not at all. One way that you can look that people can look at this is, too often people turn anticipation into expectation, and hopefully they. Oh, we just lost Rich.
So no, his video is lagging a bit. He's
okay.
He's gonna back. Yeah, he's coming.
And hopefully, what will happen is the next time there's leaks or rumors, they'll say, you know what? Maybe I'll be skeptical this time, and look into things before they just say, well, somebody said it, so it must be. Rich, it says you have Riverside open in other tabs. Did you close it?
I did now.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right. Fingers crossed that we didn't just die. All right.
Sorry.
Anyway, that's okay. I'll never forgive you. Let's move on. Oh, and talk about this guy's actual. Oh, what's up, Carrie?
Yeah, the question.
This guy's actual question. Would we want it to be this little mini PC? Because it was kind of about the rumors being false.
Right.
Yeah, we went to Rich and then we went into that. Yeah, so it's just how the flow went. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got there. We're getting there now.
Yes.
Would you guys want it to be upgradable? Basically, is what he's asking. Rich, if Valve puts out a console, do you want to be able to upgrade it?
I'm not terribly concerned about upgrading, but I will say I don't want it to be a dockable Steam Deck. I don't just want it to be Steam Deck or handheld level of power. So thinking about that, like I don't want it to be a B-Link or something like that. I do want it to have a discrete GPU, and to be a significantly more power than a handheld. That naturally comes with it, most likely the ability to upgrade. And I'm sure Valve, just knowing kind of their philosophy, they would allow that while keeping sort of the idea that this is meant for, this is the target hardware, but go ahead and upgrade if you want.
So let me ask a question based on that. Would you be okay with a box that Valve had made that could be upgraded if there was a caveat that you could only upgrade with AMD GPUs?
I would.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Me
it's
too.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, but I would.
Right. But I mean, like, there's going to be people that want the fancy schmancy NVIDIA stuff, and it's just not going to work very well on Linux. And it's just like, sorry, we're only going to support AMD here.
Yeah,
I,
so
know, I just built an AMD machine, and this thing is just smoking anything that I throw at it. It's so good.
Right.
I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything by not having an NVIDIA GPU.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Russ, you and I started at the same time. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, like, so I kind of want it to be like the Sega 32X. Like, I want it to be modular. Like, you have your box, and then you stick on the thing on the side if you want to buy that, and that'll have the GPU and power supply or whatever inside of that. And so it's just kind of add the module. And then, I mean, if we're going to have a wish list, right, I would love to have maybe the ability for third-party people to make their own module that they can also upgrade. So you don't have to wait on Valve to make that. Or it's like, hey, you know what? This other company has made their own that you can stick onto your Steam box. And so that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about, is just like kind of this PCIe connector thing that you would have as a module setup, which would make it console-like, but then also have that complexity option as well.
What's that laptop that, like, you can swap things out? I can't think of what it's called.
Framework? Is that there's
Framework. You mean like Framework, Russ?
Yeah, kind of like that, you know, or like I reviewed a B-Link mini PC that had this kind of slot to it, but, you know, it's a smaller company and like they only had one option really, and it was like this eGPU setup. It was cool, but not console-like, and that's what I think we would need to see, is something like that. So yeah, modular is kind of the way I'm thinking.
So we can come full circle on this whole answer for this question, and especially tying into the leaks that we're going with Tom and Jimmy, and kind of combining all this together, is Magnus is like this kind of transformer type of thing based on the rumors and leaks. If that's true, is that ostensibly this Magnus chip will be on the CPU end that is more designed by Microsoft. And then the GPU end is something that third parties could then slap on something newer and have further more faster iterations of Xbox consoles. But then you can have this world where, because the CPU side is done by Microsoft, you're going to be able to have the VMware, their hypervisor on there. You're going to be able to have all the VMX extensions so that they can support 360 emulation and all the other stuff. So they have hardware support on the CPU side. And then the GPU side is the thing that gets upgraded through third parties. And this is what, like, the whole Magnus kind of thing, kind of like the underpinnings of that are. So it's interesting. And if we think about it, Van Gogh was supposed to be for Microsoft and supposed to be in a Surface product. Then it kind of just got canceled. And then all of a sudden, Van Gogh came back and whoopsie daisy, Valve has it, and it's for the Steam Deck. So there has been already a time when Microsoft made or had AMD make specific hardware, and then Valve used it. So this idea of the Magnus being in a Steam Deck 2 could happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's wrapping it all up. I think it would just be a box that is not upgradable in any particular way, but would just be further than what a Steam Deck 2 could do. But that's besides the point.
What about you, Wood? Do you think it should be upgradable, or would you just want a box that you can buy and not?
Here's my thing. I think the Magnus is overrated, and that the only way to get true power out of a box like that is to stick a Switch 2 in it.
I mean,
I have no idea what any of you have said for the last 5 minutes. I got to be honest, but
Well, no, I'll simplify it. Sorry, that sounds condescending.
no, please, like I'm 5.
Okay. If Valve made a console kind of like a Steam Deck, but just a box that you plug into your TV. Would you want it to be upgradable like a PC, or would you just want it to be a box with an HDMI port?
I would just want a box. I got to be honest. I'm very much a console gamer. I love sitting on my couch and playing games, and I don't want to have to think about things. As soon as I have to start min-maxing settings and options inside the thing, I'm usually out.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
wise.
I play PlayStation 5, Switch 2, and every now and then when a really cool game comes out that I want to see, like Alan Wake, the new one, I was like, I want to push this because I have a 4090 or something. I was like, I'm going to push that on my PC. But other than that, yeah.
So yeah, my idea is that, okay, so take your PS5, and then instead of when the PS6 comes out, you can just buy a module that you attach to your PS5 that turns it into a PS6.
You know, I would
That's the
rather
kind of thing I'm
that
thinking.
than them stop doing hardware.
I don't think they will.
Right.
I guarantee you. Well, I know. Well, we already saw they're making a PlayStation 6, and I would bet dollars to donuts that there's going to be a PlayStation 6 handheld based on the low power mode that they've already done with PS5.
The issue with that, and you can tell me why I'm wrong, but wouldn't it be that if everyone has, let's say, a PlayStation 5 or a 6, let's say, everyone gets a 6, and then they start releasing things that make it better, and then you have to swap parts out? What happens when they release a new game and like half the people have something that's 3 years old as far as the hardware in their PlayStation 6, but this game's a PlayStation 6 game? Does it just play at like different aspects? They can't develop it for the latest attachment because people have the oldest one.
So, like to answer your question, the beta firmware for the PlayStation 5 that enables the low power mode does half bandwidth. I think it disables SMT. It lowers a bunch of stuff. Effectively, that low power mode makes your PlayStation 5 into an Xbox Series S, which everyone had a problem with. But that is a target that is now, when you take a look at it for the PS6 handheld specs inside of 15 watt, it kind of self-supposes that with RDNA 5, the required bandwidth is like a 44% improvement at a minimum. Doesn't matter. All this means is that
There was a moment there you lost me, and if you watch it back, you'll see it.
effectively all this means to you is that they are paving the way for developers to now make Series S versions of PS5 games, with the caveat that they will have PSSR, right? So they will have FSR4, FSR5, whatever the next generation of the PSSR2.
Upscaling. He's talking about upscaling.
I know it. Yeah, I know what that
wasn't
is.
sure if you knew what
No,
it
that
was.
I got a PlayStation 5 Pro. I wanted to know why.
Yeah. So they effectively, what you're looking at is you will have a Series S type of raster render, but with the capability of upscaling like nuts and using frame generation. So you can take this considerably further, and that would be your baseline of what a PlayStation 6 game could be. I don't think that the modular thing is going to be there because of how PlayStation is so like hardware dependent. And whenever you take a look at it, like every time I've talked with someone, they're always like, oh, no, that's not going to work because it has to be a double of the units, or it has to be this or that. And I'm like, why is everyone saying this? I've not seen any hardware documents that suggest this. It's always just been the same, this like doubling of units, so that it's been easy for PlayStation to kind of just do it. Whereas Microsoft has done the smart delivery route, and it's like, well, we treat it more like a PC, and we'll just kind of figure this out and have devs have all these different profiles, because they have the 1S profile, they have the 1X profile, and then they have a Series S profile and a Series X profile. And for all intents and purposes, we're pretty much at Series S and Series X inside of the Xbox world right now. But in the PlayStation world, I don't see them going further than that, just because anecdotally from other people saying things and claiming that this is the case, I don't see PlayStation, because it just seems like a very rigid area. So everything with this low power mode requires devs to work. And what that means is that if a dev does not do work on a 3D game that pushed the PS5 to its limit in this low power mode, that means categorically that PS5 game will not work on this PS6 handheld. They must do the work.
I know we transitioned to PlayStation, but I changed my answer. I completely changed my answer. I still want power. But I am completely content if they go completely console. You cannot upgrade, no module. I don't care. Even to be clear, even the Steam Deck is upgradable. You just have to work harder for it. So someone just did slickbuys.com just did a 32 gigabyte RAM upgrade for the first time on the Steam Deck OLED. And he was like hex editing the BIOS and stuff like that. So like, yeah, sure. Let those people do the upgrades.
Right.
And then you can buy the upgrades from them and make it for everybody else, make it pretty difficult because you lost me to carry on that last one.
So
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Ultimately, what I'm going to say here is I think that the next generation of GPUs that's coming out, the RDNA 5, the specific gaming segment, because there's three GPUs that AMD is doing in their UDNA architecture. It doesn't matter. The graphic side of things for gaming is going to be with FSR4, FSR5, with ray tracing and all of the stuff that they're coming out with right now, is going to be a gigantic fundamental leap in performance. That just having a set-top box of RDNA 5 with Zen 6 and pushing that relatively hard, you're going to have this performance target that is pretty amazing. Think of like Series S, but having frame generation and good upscaling. Yeah, and then you're like, oh, crap. Like, I mean, look how good the Switch 2 already looks with, the DLSS upscaling, or even FSR upscaling, like on Donkey Kong, which is just FSR. Looks fantastic. And like, I'm played undocked and I'm like, this looks sensational. But like, you look at that and how little power that takes, and just think about where RDNA 2 is, and just put 50% more in raster, and then frame double and have better image upscaling, and then you're like, oh crap, this is going to be a sensational upshift. But we're like 2026, 2027 is when we're going to see this. So it's still like we're kind of mired in this like who cares territory of like the Z2E is like, oh great, it's 30% better than a Steam Deck. Like, okay. Right. Yeah. You don't care as much.
I feel like to answer Wood's question in a lot less words, we have PC, and people have all kinds of different configurations for PCs. So when you look at when Rich runs a game on his Steam Deck, he plays the same game that I'm playing on the Linux PC that I just built, and it works. It just has different settings. Right now, consoles can't do that because consoles don't play PC games. They play console games, and console games don't give you access to all of those settings. When Valve puts out a box, if they do have it be upgradable, well, it's playing PC games, and PC games have settings where you can go in and change the things in order to get the best performance on the device that you are using it. So if Valve does put out a device that is upgradable, I'm okay with it. And
is
if
that
they
just
don't, I'm
a
also
mini
okay
PC at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
totally.
that's what
I
the
guess
Steam
if we're
Deck
talking
is.
about Valve specifically, yeah, sure. Oh, that sounds okay. I think I get that now.
Yeah. All right.
You know, it'd be cool if they did a Switch 2 Pro and it was like $500, but you could buy a $300 version that was just the screen, and then you just slap it on your old Joy-Con and dock.
I actually still think that that's a good idea. Is just a Switch 2 docked only, a set-top box only version.
Yes,
I would buy that. I think that's actually a good idea because like it's really powerful for what it is. And like the Chinese, they show the PCBs, and like they were like, oh yeah, we paid $120 for this, and I was like, man, so that PCB with everything on there is $120. Like I think Nintendo could sell for $200.
I don't think it's going to sell though. I mean, look at like what did they call that thing? The PlayStation TV,
right? Yeah,
it was a PS Vita, right? And it was a set top one.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Want to interrupt, cheap, but I agree with you. I don't think that would sell very well.
I disagree because it would be cheap because they're not putting a battery in it. They're not putting a screen in it.
No Joy-Cons.
The Joy-Cons.
Guys, when is the last time we said Nintendo and cheap in the same sentence? Come on.
It won't be cheap. They'll charge you for it.
Yeah.
Also, they're like, if it's cheap, they're undercutting themselves on the Switch. And I don't know.
You're talking Nintendo. How much is the thing? Oh, it's $130.
For the audio listeners, Carrie was miming a fishing reel. All right, let's talk about, we only have about 10 minutes left. Let's talk about the games that we've been playing. Wood, what have you been playing this week? Anything?
Well, I have a 3-month-old, which has made things kind of difficult to actually get around to sticking with anything. I finished Donkey Kong finally, probably a week or two ago. And by finished, I mean did everything other than collect all the bananas and figured I should be done. I started playing that Take a Seat game or whatever it is today. Oh, I downloaded Apex last night and I had a couple games of that, the Switch 2 version of Apex on Switch 2, obviously. That's sick. It's crazy how good that looks and runs now comparatively to the Switch 1 version.
Right.
So that's really cool. But yeah, I haven't actually like sat down and got stuck into anything. My Death Stranding 2 run is still on pause from about a month or two ago just because of baby. But ironically, I can't look for another baby because I have one in the house. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at, if I'm not forgetting anything.
We said at
What
the
about you,
beginning
Russ?
that
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, we said at the beginning that it took you 2 years to respond. Now I understand why. You were waiting to have the baby to join the dad podcast.
Yeah.
Are we all dads here? I heard that you're a granddad, and that blew me away.
Well, thank you. Most people are not surprised when I say that. When they see my wife, they're like, "You're a grandmother," and then they look at me and they're like, "Yeah, that checks out."
It's only the beard. You look great. I don't understand how that's even possible. I mean, those kids have to be like 3, 4, right? The grandkids.
I have 2 grandkids. One of them is 3. The other one is 1.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the only thing that could make sense.
Yeah.
But everyone else is a dad too.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. I went pry. I'm sure everybody already knows that listens, but I'll ask you all later about it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
It's it's so far removed for a lot of us. I mean, my oldest 16, my youngest is 9. Like I can't
Whoa.
remember a 3-month-old baby.
How
like,
old are
in the
you?
house. I'm 45. I know I
Whoa!
look young,
What's the secret of this podcast? I didn't come on here more. What's the youth? How old are you, Rich? 20?
I am in my 40s. I'll say that. I don't like to get too personal on the podcast, but
That's fine.
He's the baby. He's the baby
Yeah.
of the group. He's the youngest.
Wait, really? So, Carrie, how old are you? Because I think you actually do look the youngest.
Same age as Russ.
Yeah, same age.
This is insane.
it's my gray hair. The gray hair came after the second child.
I have it right here.
The gray hair looks great on you, though.
Thank
Actually,
you.
You all look great. You all look fantastic.
Thanks.
Well,
this is my wife.
I've got some. You won't see them right now, but I promise you they're there. I have strands of gray coming in, so that's fun.
We're all on the
Your
right
wife
podcast.
just like picking on you about it all the time.
No, I think if anything, she's excited. She doesn't care. I think she likes the idea of me having like a full head of gray long hair.
Okay, you know who is picking on me though? It's not my wife. It's my 12-year-old boy. He's just he loves calling me old. He's now taller than I am. He likes calling me short guy. It's literally a quarter inch taller, and he calls me short guy.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's
My
it.
son towers over me.
Right.
You guys met him at DA Games.
Yep.
He is 6'3",
Whoa!
and when I like stand next to him, I'm like reaching up to his shoulder to put my arm around him. He's so
How tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
Okay, so I'm
On a
6'1",
good day.
but yeah, my boy, he's definitely tall. He's big. He's big for his age. So we'll see. We'll see if he can beat me. I'm not sure.
It's gonna happen.
We'll add. So Wood, I think you look very good. I think probably for your age, and I think one of it is that you
Thank you.
got out of Australia, because I went to school in Australia for a while, and there's so many like sun-beaten people there, and they like you talk to them and they look like they're 60, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm 35.
See, I would have been immune because I live inside. I never went outside anyway. I was always very pale. But yeah, there's definitely some leathery Australians that I've met in my time.
It's like that lady on what's that Ben Stiller movie where the lady's always tanning?
Oh right. Something about Mary.
Yeah, something about Mary. That's right. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a very funny movie.
It's been a long time, but
Very.
Yeah.
It might not be funny anymore. But I remember when it came out, I was young and I was like, that was some funny shit.
Pretty raunchy, but yeah, it's good.
Very raunchy. Russ, what have you been playing, man?
So I've been playing an old one. So I've been playing Chicory, A Colorful Tale, which is an old indie game from, I think it's like 5-6 years old at this point. But I've been working on a new Portmaster video. And that Portmaster is a tool that you can use to play on, Linux-based retro handhelds that will play PC ports. And I started out, I'm going to show my 20 favorite games. And then it ballooned to 50 favorite games. And now I'm close to like 100. I don't know how I'm going to be able to make this video unless I give them 5 seconds each. Like, this game's good. this game's good. But anyway,
I didn't know there were
I've been
that
playing
many
Chicory.
Portmaster games.
that's
There's over
surprises me.
1,000 now.
Yeah.
There's over 1,000. So I
Holy
was
cow.
like, okay, maybe I'll do 10% of them.
I
you know.
saw Morrowind just came, right?
Yeah, Morrowind. I can't get that one working. But anyway, Chicory is one that I did get working. I have it on Steam. I've got it on Switch as well, but I've never really played it. It's actually a really good fit for Portmaster, particularly with the Retroid Pocket 5, which is what I'm using for all my testing, because it's got a touch screen. And playing Chicory with a touch screen, because you paint in that game, but if you play it on like PlayStation, you got to use the right analog stick to move the paintbrush around. But if you've got a touch screen, you can just paint with it, and it's actually like a really cool experience. And so yeah, I've been playing that game. It's fun. I thought it was going to be a cozy game. It's not a cozy game. Like there are like boss fights and stuff, you know.
Just trying to paint
it's
here.
a good game. Right, exactly. I was like, all right, and just kind of relax before bed, and I'm up, I'm like doing this stuff, you know. And so but it's a good game. It's pretty cheap, like $10 $20 game. I recommend it. It's good.
Rich, what have you been playing, man?
Oh man, I haven't been playing much. What I do want to call out though is what was the game that just came out? Ninja Gaiden, right? Oh, Shinobi had the demo. So Shinobi demo is so good, and I like it a little more than Ninja Gaiden. They're both very good, but Shinobi just I fell for it. It's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check that out. It's like I downloaded it and I haven't touched it because, well, actually I have to re-download it because I had a whole issue, but I definitely want to check that out because I loved Shinobi 3. Like that is one of the games that every time I pick up one of these little emulator doodads, I always fire up Shinobi because I just love that game.
Yeah.
Gary, what have you been playing, man?
I haven't played anything since I beat DK. I've just been trying to blitz through a bunch of stuff. That's it. So I haven't played anything since DK really. I think the only thing I have in the play queue is God of War Ragnarok on PC, which I've gotten pretty far into. But then I sidestepped to go to DK, and I'm probably gonna go back to Ragnarok again.
Post DK was definitely a feeling of like, what do I play now? Like after going through that game, it was like, what follows that?
The ending of that game, like changed my opinion of the game so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved everything about it. I was just like glued. As soon as it was just like plot twist, and I was just like, wait, what? And then I just kept on going, and I was just so happy about pretty much every choice that had happened there. And I really enjoyed
I don't
it.
know how they could have done it better. Like
Right.
it's just so good.
Right.
Got to get that. My son borrowed that from me, and I have got to get it back because I played it the first day, and then he was like, "Well, I want to play that," and I was like, "Yeah, go ahead. I got a lot of stuff to do," and I haven't been able to touch it.
You only
since,
said
so
that because your son's 6'3" and can beat you up.
that's true.
Yeah.
Go to your room. Go to your room.
Take it.
So last week, we were talking about Streets of Rage and comparing it to Final Fight. And I was like, I'm going to try out Final Fight because I only played it a little bit. I played through it and beat it. And I love that game. I still think Streets of Rage 2 is better.
Streets of Rage 2.
Those sprites are so small.
They are
They
small.
are, but
They are
it's just
small.
better gameplay.
Streets of Rage 2 is to me the GOAT 16-bit beat 'em up.
Brawler.
Yeah, brawler. Yeah. There have been better since, but for that time, Streets of Rage 2. So Wood, beat 'em ups, you have an opinion on this, right?
Would hope so.
You want to know something?
Tell me.
I don't really like beat 'em ups.
Plot
Get
twist.
out of here. Get out. You faked
The end
it.
of the podcast just changed my entire opinion of the podcast.
My favorite beat 'em up is Scott Pilgrim. That game is awesome.
Oh yeah, that's with the
good
soundtrack by Anna Monoguchi.
But as a genre as a whole, not my fave.
That's fair. I mean, like growing up, like in arcades, it was like such a staple of like a
Oh,
lot
the
of
Simpsons beat 'em up too. It's sick. I have the arcade
yes.
cabinet actually behind me over there. So
nice.
that was a
Yeah.
good
So, but like I've mentioned this before. There's just the giant, actually old school arcade called the Galloping Ghost in Brookfield, Illinois, right next to Chicago, and my buddy and I went. My family have gone there. Just my brothers and my cousins. But we would go there and we would just play. Like we played 6-player X-Men, and there's a different feeling when everything's just free play. When you're not like clinging to like trying not to be killed. When you
Yeah.
just have a free play button and you can just spam supers, die, and go forward, the entire dynamic of how you play the game changes immediately. Like when you're playing Gauntlet and the death guy is just sucking away your life, you're just like hitting the like start button just to keep putting more credits in. The entire dynamic of it before, like when I was a kid, it was like I was getting my lunch money robbed from me, and I was like, no, God, no, stop. And now I'm here, I'm just like, yeah, go on, finish up, just go away already.
Yeah, and then that lends to what beat 'em ups and shmups became, which is chasing the 1cc, right? So like you're okay, the first dozen, 100, whatever times you play, just putting in as many credits as it takes, but you're hopefully taking fewer and fewer credits, but that just adds to that replay value, right? So like eventually you reach that golden grail of getting the 1cc or you know, whatever your goal is, but that's what it turned into, I think, for a lot of people.
I think also like this is a kind of a sidestep of the thing, but I've always had this like philosophy, and I learned it like also the same time of like when like PlayStation 1, like when I modded my PlayStation and I was like copying a lot of discs, and I was having this huge library of copy games that I never played. I was just copying a crap ton of games. And I feel like it's along the same lines as like for people that like to play games with cheats on, I really recommend to play with cheats on like after you have played the game through versus from the get-go, like when you start, because it changes the entire game for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think always for the better. Like if you have like big head mode or whatever, that's not what I'm talking about. But like playing the game again with cheats on is like, oh, let me just experience it this way. And it's kind of like doing a victory lap for the game. And that's just kind of my own philosophy for when playing games. Like just do it like hard mode, like Nintendo hard. Like not for nothing, but that was like actually great about Nintendo games, even though as a kid it was brutal. Like you would just be like, oh, I died and I can't continue. I have to start all the way from the beginning again. So it was just
Ninja
like
Gaiden.
Exactly. You became this like a ninja savant where you're just like running. You're like, there's an owl there, jump slash. And it's just like, if you were watching someone that had played and knew it, like memorized it, just wrote memorization, you think that they're just godlike beings. Like, how are you playing this right now? Like, this looks insane. And I feel like, you know, Battletoads and all those other ones where the trope Nintendo hard, where that came from, there's a bit of an appreciation, whereas like, I'm glad that they never just gave you infinite credits, because then it would have been less fun. And even though those games were like hair pulling, like when you die in certain situations, I'm glad that they did what they did ultimately.
Confession, Final Fight. I was in arcade mode and I was just spamming credits and I was fine with it. I had fun. I did have fun, but I still do like Streets of Rage more. But that's going to do it for this episode of the NerdNest podcast. Before we get out of here, we got to hear about all of the videos that these guys are working on. Wood, what's the next video you're working on, man?
Well, behind me here on this table, I'm about to film all the weird Switch 2 accessories of Amazon, because I bought way too many of those. And I also have a weird Switch accessories of Etsy, which has been filmed for a while, and that I'm just waiting to post that once things have calmed down. So that's where I'm at right there. And then I have my own podcast, Nintendo podcast, every week. So every Thursday.
Awesome. And there'll be links for all of that stuff down below. So make sure that you guys check it out right down below that like button. Russ, what are you working on, man?
I'm working on that Portmaster video. So I got a bunch of handhelds in the mail the past week, but I'm kind of pushing them off because I want to do a software thing. So I'm going to do that Portmaster thing, which is great because that means I get to sit down and play a bunch of PC games and film it all, you know, put it all together. So it's a fun day for me.
Excellent. Rich?
Doing a Steam Deck news video, surprise. Hopefully covering the 32 gigabyte RAM upgrade for the Steam Deck. So gonna do some research on that. Seems really interesting.
Very cool.
Yep.
Carrie, you got video coming this week? You're muted. We'll never forgive you.
Yes, thank you. I have a Lunar Lake video that I've been working on for a while now. I actually did all the benches for it, 720p and 1080p. And then when I started comparing it, I was like, this is worse than what I originally did. And apparently the latest drivers for the MSI Claw, especially Lunar Lake, requires that PL1 and PL2 be different. And I always set them the same because PL2 is always like a turbo limit and it's stupid. But they're like, no. Just you can even wait until that turbo limit goes away and you'll still get the performance benefit. And sure enough, they're right, which is just bizarre to me. But yeah, so I have to redo all of those benches again, and it's just so it's just kind of brutal. That's where I am, and I kind of just rushed through. I did a video on the Transformer, the One Sugar X thing, which I applaud. I love the attempt at it. It's fine, but that's what I had done before, and I'm still working on the Lunar Lake video to just get a updated benchmark video, just to have a better understanding of how much better the new drivers are.
Very cool. I just put out a video today about about Steam input and showing people how to do some Steam input things. So that's up on the channel. But next week I'm working on. Do you guys remember my 7-hour live stream where I modded my Steam Deck? I'm doing it again, but I'm not doing a 7-hour live stream. Instead, I'm going to be modding the Steam Deck controls to see how that turns out. And
deck buttons?
I'll either break my OLED Steam Deck or I won't.
Are you using deck buttons? Or like
no, what's deck buttons? Oh, those are the little color buttons?
Yeah.
No, I'm making the buttons clicky.
Okay, cool.
Instead of bushy.
That's fun.
Yeah. So that's my goal, but you'll either see a happy Bill next week or a sad Bill next week. So tune in.
That's the thumbnail, right? Well, I know what happened then.
Well, you guys could have been anywhere for the last hour and a half or hour and 50 minutes, but you decided to hang out with us, and I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Wood, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really fun talking to you, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
I guess.